Well, good morning everyone from the beautiful Smoky Mountains, and I finally have a nice overcast day, and so this morning I'm just working on some more dogwood images, and I found one here right by the side of the road, which is typical for me here in the Smokies. I have my 450mm lens on to really zoom into this thing, and exposed some ProV 100, and I think I got everything still with the wind, so that's exciting. So this is the story of the day. Just pack up and keep driving down the road and looking for more of these dogwood. Just try to find an interesting shape. This one has kind of a neat little check mark shape that's a little different. So just try to find a nice arrangement, and hopefully everything comes together with a composition and it'll be enjoyable to look at. So that's what's going to happen today. I'm just going to keep on moving down the road and seeing what else I can discover in this beautiful spring here in the Smoky Mountains. Well, I found another nice dogwood shape here. This is one I photographed last evening, I think from a slightly different angle, and last night I used my 450 and today I moved a little closer and used the 300, so we'll see how that works out. It started to sprinkle a little bit, so I'm here under my Versabrella, and also an elk has wandered in. I don't know if you can see back in the corner here. And so now there's people stopping by the road to photograph the elk, and so I need to get moving here. Anyway, I think this is kind of a neat picture, and the wind's picked up a little bit right now, but it was nice and calm, I think, over there on those little petals while I was photographing this beautiful dogwood. So I'm gonna load everything in the car and keep on moving. Hope it doesn't rain too much, but I love these overcast, cloudy conditions for forest photography. You can't get any better. So I'm going to hope for more of that today as we keep on moving. Next, I worked on a couple other scenes, but didn't record much video other than a little B-roll. Here's a piece of ProV I'll show to illustrate a challenge when searching for dogwood in the Smokies. This type of scene is really typical of dogwood photography. You can find lots of beautiful trees, like this one, but the petals are up high, and there is nothing really interesting or remarkable lower down in the composition to hold your interest or add to the image. This one is okay, but I'm always hoping for something just a little more special. If you've been following this channel for a while, you probably know that I have an ebook called Seeing the Forest Through the Trees, and I'll leave a link to that down below. But one of the things I talk about in that book is the forest edge detail and how to find locations where you can practice that kind of photography, where there's sort of a cut in the forest, you can stand back a little bit, zoom in, and get that nice sort of compressed space view of the edge of the forest. And I really like this kind of photography. It's my favorite kind. Well, while I'm here in the Smokies this week, that's exactly what I'm doing. And one of the places that I talk about in that book for finding forest edge details that you might not think about is a picnic area. And a picnic area in a forest that they've cut out of the forest is really wonderful because it just gives you this almost 360 degrees around the edge of that picnic area where you can find the edge of the forest. And so that's where I am right now, just in this picnic area, wandering around and looking for places to just isolate trees, and the beautiful dogwood here, really, really nice. So just keep that in mind as you're out traveling around. Look for those forest edge details and check out those picnic areas. Well, the weather is turning here in the Smokies today. It's getting really cold, and the wind has really picked up, and weather says it's going to get really, really cold overnight, like maybe below 30 degrees. And there's also been some rain predicted, so I have no idea whether we're going to see ice or snow or what's going to happen. When there's icing and snowy conditions, they typically close the road over the mountains, so I'll kind of limit where I can go for a while until they reopen it, if indeed they close it. So I think what I'm going to do, well, first of all, I've had a really good morning so far. I exposed a lot of film on several different neat dogwood subjects, so I feel pretty good about that. And now I'm going to go reload some film, and just to be ready in case things improve. But right now it's so windy, I really couldn't use the view camera. I've been using the Pentax digital a little bit. But I think I'm going to just drive around to some other sort of far away parts of the park that I've never been to before. Probably take a couple hours to get there and just explore. That's kind of a good thing to do if you don't really have great conditions where you are. Just go explore someplace new. Maybe something will be great while you're there, or maybe it'll just be a knowledge base for coming back another time. So I think that's what I'm going to do this afternoon. Just do some more driving around, and who knows, I might find something. The wind is definitely coming and going, like right this second. It's pretty calm, but the sun's been kind of coming in and out, and I can tell there's some kind of a storm or weather change coming. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, and also just what I can find when I visit some new areas today that I've never been to before. So I'm looking forward to that, and we'll hopefully see you later today. Well, I just got super lucky. I'm right at the top of the mountain where it crosses over from North Carolina to Tennessee, and turns out there's a bit of a snowstorm up here, and I got some really neat frost-covered trees and just a beautiful arrangement of pines and these frost-covered bare trees, and sort of fog or mist blowing through, and wow, really, really nice. I just spent about the last 15 minutes working on different compositions, and it's cold and windy, and definitely was using my Pentax digital camera to be able to stop the motion of these branches in the wind. But wow, is it really, really neat. So the show's still going on, but I think I got all I needed, so I'm going to keep on moving and head down the mountain now and see what I can find on the other side. Well, I made it to the more remote section of the park and been wandering around a little bit. This is kind of a road that just runs along this river here, and so I've been looking at the river rocks and sort of the sculpted stones and rocks that are along this river, and found an interesting composition, kind of a little abstract detail with little small river pebbles set amongst some other interesting shapes of the river rocks here on the side of the river here. And so I set up a composition and just a real sort of a close-up thing where I had to use an extra third of a stop of exposure because of my bellows extension factor. And I also used some front swing to keep everything in focus, because the plane of focus is kind of angled relative to the film plane. So I just aligned that plane of focus that way and gave it a couple of sheets of Velvia 50. So hopefully that'll sort of make the colors pop and look interesting on this little subject. So that was kind of fun, and there's a lot more to explore here, so I'm going to keep on doing that. And I've probably got a few more hours till sunset, so I'll be exploring some more, and then probably end up driving back to the hotel in the dark, which seems to be what happens here. Just photograph about, or at least scout about as long as you can, and end up heading back in the dark. But that's all right. It's good to explore and see some new areas, and this is one that will certainly merit some further exploration in the subsequent trips. So that's all for right now, and I'm going to keep exploring this beautiful river.